Hallo und willkommen zurück zu Super sehr Gurke Buchclub.
Oh.
Wir lesen heute mal wieder oder weiter Infinity Sun von Adam Silvera, unserem Boy.
Dem Best Boy, der,
Ähm,
by the way,
wir,
an einem Prequel
ja,
zu They Both Die at the End arbeitet. At the moment.
ein Sequel wäre komisch.
Ja. Ich weiß
Ähm,
nicht, irgendwie die ersten. The First to Die at the End oder so, ich weiß nicht genau.
okay.
Irgendwie so.
Das ist, also ich meine, das wird wahrscheinlich eh wieder irgendwie sad am Ende,
Ja.
aber was soll man machen, ne?
Ja.
Wir waren in unserer kleinen Abenteurergeschichte hier von unserem Emil und Brian, die Brüder, die eigentlich keine Brüder sind, weil Emil adoptiert wurde, lol.
Lol.
Ähm, und deren Mutter das nicht erzählt hat, weil dachten, vielleicht kann Emil normal aufwachsen. Tja, Pech gehabt, jetzt wird er zu einem Superhelden. Ähm, genau, wir haben Emil und Brighton kennengelernt. Emil voll der Phoenix-Fan und Brighton voll so als fabulous YouTuber.
Er
Steht
ist ein
voll
richtiger
auf die
Influencer.
Heroes und so für die filmen und dokumentieren. Und natürlich dafür sorgen, dass sie gut dargestellt werden. Weil die haben nicht so eine gute Reputation, weil ja ständig so Terrorismus, ne? Nicht so cool.
Yes.
Aber Emil muss jetzt klarkommen, weil der hat plötzlich Fähigkeiten
Und um die zu testen, dachte
gezeigt.
sich Maribel, oh yo, lass mal zu Orten gehen und den wegsnacken, um
Genau,
den
Orton
auszufragen.
ist einer der bösen Bloodcasters irgendwie, Teil oder so. Also er ist so ein Typ, sollte keine Fähigkeiten haben, hat die aber bekommen durch böse Blutalchemie. Äh, und es kam nur irgendeine Diskussion, war nichts krass oder so, aber dann hat er die plötzlich angegriffen. Also Orton hat Emil und Bright angegriffen, wegen irgendwas Zeug. Who knows?
Yes.
War eigentlich ziemlich sinnlos. I don't know,
Ja,
warum gehen die zu Krieg jetzt, aber naja. Ähm,
sind halt Patheten, also vor allem Orten. Kommt mir vor wie ein ziemlicher
genau.
Pathet.
Und jetzt sind die halt auf die zugegangen, also nicht zugegangen, die haben die angegriffen, die Spellwalkers-Leute, und
Yes.
haben so ein paar Leute gedownt. Und das war alles ziemlich unprofessionell und
Ja,
kritisch geplant, bin ich ehrlich.
Prudentia und Brighton sollten auch mitkommen, um zu
Genau,
gucken,
die
ob sie
keine
irgendwie
Fähigkeiten
würdig sind,
haben.
trainiert zu werden oder so. I don't know, macht irgendwie nicht so
Ja,
Sinn, dass sie erst ins Battle gehen
ja.
und dann trainiert werden, aber
Das,
okay.
das ist wie so eine Mood-Challenge, you know? Es ist
Ja,
dumm und danach hast du nichts davon, wirklich. Also.
aber hey, sie haben Glück im Unglück gehabt. Orton ist basically verbrannt.
Ja, der ist weg. Naja,
Geburnoutet.
die anderen sind vielleicht auch abgebrannt, weil die ganze Anlage irgendwie abgefackelt ist dadurch.
Ja,
Who knows? To be honest, war eh nicht so cool, finde ich, mit dem, die knocken die einfach aus und dann lassen die beiden, die keine Kampffähigkeiten haben, alleine mit den ausgenockten Leute. I don't know. Aber naja.
und
Eine wurde wieder krass verletzt, war ja
yes,
klar.
again.
Pathetisch, macht immer dasselbe. Und jetzt waren sie auf dem Rückweg oder sind schon zurück? Ich bin mir nicht
Ja,
sicher.
und Emil denkt sich jetzt halt so, yo, auch wenn ich ziemliche Fortschritte beim Training gemacht habe, ich weiß nicht, ob das echt was für mich ist, honestly. Das ist
True.
alles ein
Wir
bisschen
haben,
nicht so mein Ding.
wir haben auch letztens gelernt, was ein Burnout ist.
Yes.
Für so Leute. Wenn die Fähigkeiten nicht aushalten, dann werden die davon übernommen und sterben.
Boom.
Und also ein Burnout, I don't know, ist vielleicht mehr literally mit dem Phoenix-Zeug, dass man dann verbrennt.
Yes.
Aber ich vermute mal, mit den anderen Sachen ist das auch irgendwie so ähnlich. Nur,
Ja,
dass man halt
irgendwie
nicht
so.
verbrennt, maybe. Okay.
Und jetzt geht's weiter mit Kapitel 19. Spellwalkers of New York, Brighton. Being Emil on social media is wild. He isn't doing great in real life since last night's fight, but he's tracking really well online. Really, really well. His Instagram profile is now sporting the blue verified badge, and he's got over 600,000 followers showing him love and support. Some hate
Wait.
too, but
Muss man nicht fürs Verify nicht irgendwie so seine ID-Karte irgendwie da, you know.
Brighton hat das alles under control. Der war bestimmt so,
Wirklich.
wait, wir müssen den noch verifieren, oder? Mm.
Das war wirklich dumm. Aber okay.
Hat dem erstmal eine E-Mail geschrieben. Ja, ich hätte gern den Verify-Button-Dings.
Ja, es geht ja nicht ein.
Hier,
Okay.
der Ausweis.
Schicken Sie einfach zurück an diese Adresse.
Yeah. Some hate too, but he doesn't need to know about that. His Twitter mentions are so out of control that I can't keep up. Most notably, his Celestials of New York training montage has over 3 million views. BuzzFeed even cribbed my clips for their post. Between that and the 20,000 new subscribers I've made overnight, I'm living the dream. Last night I handed over the full video of the battle against Orton to the Spellwalkers so they could figure out why Orton burned out. When people's bodies react poorly to the amount of creature blood needed to turn someone into a specter, it usually happens at the beginning. Orton had his powers for at least 2 weeks. This was extreme. Lucky for them, I got most of it on camera. I stayed up editing the battle to fire it up on YouTube as soon as possible, but it sucks that I lost some moments, like when Orton's blast was flying straight at me and Prudencia, so we had to take a cover away from the doorway, or when Orton was walking in place as if he were shackled like some rabid dog. The video is blowing up within the hour. I don't know, was auch immer. I rush out of the library and back to our room to show Emil. I find him shaking with a blanket wrapped around his shoulders, even though warm sunbeams are bathing him and Eva is sitting across from him with a mug of tea. Hey, Emil says weakly. What's going on? I ask. Your brother and I are having a long overdue talk, Eva says. Would you mind giving us some more time? We tell each other everything, I say. The way Eva stares at me makes me question what I've said. I'm happy to set up a time for us to do some group counseling, maybe even involve your mother, but this is a private session. Someone thinks she's a real therapist. It's okay, he can stay, Emil says. I'm tempted to throw a I told you so smirk Eva's way, but I keep it together and sit beside Emil. Emil gets me up to speed, though it's nothing new, questioning his relationship with Ma, how he's terrified all the time, how he couldn't sleep last night because he feels so guilty over everything that happened with the factory. Talking it out with Eva is a solid idea because I refuse to grieve Orton and the acolytes and Maribel and Iris both received healing, so all's well that ends well. Figuring out how he feels about the big family secret and feeling bolder in battles is going to take time, but Emil will get there. He has to. What if using my powers overloads me too? Emil asks. Bro, you're talking yourself out of fighting. You see that, right? Emil's fear is valid, Eva cuts in. There's still so much we don't know about Orton's situation. Did he die because he was a celestial with phoenix essence? Maybe the creature's blood took longer to corrode his celestial blood. I want to do the right thing, Emil says. But what if I screw up everything, even worse than Kion did? Eva is about to tug a strand of hair and resists. Back before there was so much disharmony between celestials and humans, our ancestors had a saying: the strongest power above all is a living heart. Emil, your heart is powerful. You care, you ache, you feel. I don't know what Kion's intentions were, but his execution was disastrous. Your humanity is what makes you heroic, not your powers. As Eva tells Emil more about how she swears by this mantra as a pacifist, my mind keeps turning the words over and over. The strongest power above all is a living heart. Humanity is what makes heroes, not powers. The strongest power above all is a living heart. Humanity is what makes heroes, not powers. The strongest power is humanity. I got it. Got what? Emil asks. The key to winning. I tell them to get everyone in the boardroom and I run back to the library to get ready. I collect all the links and data I need to make my case. This is going to be a level up for the movement. My heart is pounding when I enter the boardroom to find the spellwalkers and Prudencia gathered around. I haven't been this nervous about a presentation since my advanced placement computer science final, which I aced, obviously. I go to the front of the room and thank everyone for coming. Lol, was steht da? Bei mir ist der Text kaputt. What's the big plan? Einfach nur? Okay, ja. Cool. Ja. die Nachteile eines echten Buches oder so. Ja. Das ist ein Druckfehler. Okay. What's the plan? Maribel asks. A 6-part video series featuring all the spellwalkers, I say. Maribel glares at me like Dad used to when I would urgently wake him up to tell him about some new fun fact I learned, a fun fact that always could have waited until he was out of bed. Eva told us about that old celestial adage and one about the strongest power being a living heart. Why don't we post about why you all became heroes, your origin stories? We can dispel all the rumors about how you're building an army to take down the government or getting stronger to attack the city again. Maribel stands up. Dude, no one cares about us. I disagree. I share my report on the positive engagement I've seen across Emil's accounts and my own. People are rooting for all of us. They didn't know Emil 2 weeks ago, and now they're starving for more details. I remember what it was like waiting for the next time any spellwalker would pop up on my feed, whether it was a clip of the latest brawl or even a casual sighting of them out in the world. I've tried the social media route before, and after the blackout, Atlas says, my own account and after the blackout, my own account included. You build your following by shouting out how many lives you've saved or lost. They only see you as a warrior. Let's take it to the next level and make it clear what you're fighting for. And you're the one to do it? Maribel asks. My platform has grown since Emil. I can't say it out loud, but it does sting that my personal fame isn't because of my own spotlight. The tables have now turned and I've become Emil's cameraman. I can get people to pay attention. We start with you all, and maybe we can expand to the innocence you saved. Not every Celestial wants to be exposed, Prudencia says. All the work they've done to blend into society, it gets thrown out the window. Everyone will have a choice to prove. Warte, was? Oh mein Gott. Achso. I don't know, wer das sagt, aber. All the work you've done that they've done to blend into society gets thrown out the window. Everyone will have a choice to prove they're not walking weapons simply because they have powers. They can tell their stories through my human power campaign. I give them the rundown. We lead with a special feature, Spellwalkers of New York, on my channel, and every video will be tagged with #humanpower. When it trends, and it will, we'll throw the question back at everyone. What's your human power? Celestials can share their stories. Humans can prove their allies and energize others to step up their game. Prudencia takes a deep breath and looks me dead in the eye. I want to believe your campaign will work, Brighton. It's inspired. I'm not all that confident that someone who's a big at learning that spellwalkers have dreams and feelings will finally view them as equals. Then there's the fake activism, which is exhausting. People show up for a hashtag, spend an hour preparing a picture to post to prove they're good, and then they turn to their regular lives where people don't swing at them. It's a conversation we've had before, but my cheeks flush having it in front of the spellwalkers. It's worth trying, I say. I agree, Iris says, and I hold back a smile. Senator Iron, is using the blackout to silence Congresswoman Sunstar. It's unrealistic to expect Brighton's campaign to change everyone's worldviews forever, but maybe now is the time to try. This could be a big push to get Sunstar in office, where she can continue her work on a greater scale. Everyone is talking over each other. Atlas is on the fence because not everyone's stories are going to be received well by the public. Eva is worried about what this could mean for Nova if enforcers and alchemists find out there's a healer on the team. Emil wants me to think about how this might backfire on me, but hateful comments are very different from what Celestials face daily. Maribel is resistant until she realizes the potential of this campaign catching fire. With a bigger platform, she can ask the world if they know the identity of the mystery girl who survived the blackout. Wesley wants to talk it out with Ruth, but he's open to it if she is. There are risks, of course, but the Spellwalkers decide to give me a chance. Maybe this war can be removed from the streets and won online. Interessante Herangehensweise. Aber ich guess macht Sinn. In einer digitalen Welt. I set up my camera on the auditorium stage, facing 2 chairs against the black curtains. The Spellwalkers took the night to sleep on their involvement in my series, and now everyone is desperate enough for change that they are honoring their yeses. Oh mein Gott, yeses sieht sehr weird aus als Wort. Jesus, ja. Jesus. I prepped them on how this is going to go down. I asked personal questions about their origin stories and lives, and the more honest they are, the better our chances will be at gaining sympathy for the campaign. We'll each film for 15 to 20 minutes, and I stay up editing down to 3 or 4 minutes because of my viewers' attention spans. Pity. Emil is my cameraman like the good old days. Who wants to go first? I ask. Between his active Instagram and convention appearances, Wesley is the least camera shy, but even he's tense as I ask him about being kicked out by his parents at 14 and forced to use his powers for survival on the streets. He admits to abusing his swift speed for personal gain, but he turned it all around when he met Atlas, who gave him purpose, and later Ruth, who grounded him with love. He needs this war to be over, so she doesn't have to use her cloning power to raise their baby girl. Wesley will do whatever it takes to be the loving father he never had growing up. Atlas hugs Wesley before sitting with me and opening up about his parents being locked up in the San Diego bounds after using their powers to rob a bank since no one wanted to hire them. At 10 years old, Atlas was acting out as he bounced between foster homes, but after the high of saving someone at 17, he ditched Los Angeles to make a positive difference with the powers he inherited from his mother. He changed his name, dyed his hair, and set out to New York with the air of someone enlisting in the military. He prayed he would attract the attention of the Spellwalkers with his heroic deeds, all tracked on his @Atlas account. And he's committed to creating a world where Celestials won't have to abuse their powers to make ends meet. Iris cuts in before Maribel because she insists she has to get back to surveying Spectre activity to figure out what the Bloodcasters are planning with the Crowned Dreamer. Iris tells the story of what it has meant to not only be a legacy spellwalker, but to come from a line of women who are stronger with each generation. Leading the spellwalkers after the blackout has felt like impossible work, but her parents never shied away from the importance of the mission, even when the stars felt dimmest, so Iris will continue carrying the world on her shoulders instead of letting it roll away, hoping she can one day live in an ordinary 20-year-old. Die sind alle so jung, das kommt mir gar nicht so vor. Honestly, ich denke mir die ganze Zeit, die Spellwalker, die sind alle so mindestens 30.
Ja, das
Und
hab ich
Emil ist
auch
so ein
nie gedacht.
kleiner Boy.
Ja.
Naja.
Damn.
Maribel joins me on stage with a photo in her lap. She defends her parents, saying that the media has got it all wrong about the Luceros and the Chambers. Instead of harping on how the Spellwalkers are responsible for the blackout, she urges a deeper investigation on the girl everyone saw on the surveillance footage. She holds the missing pages of the story that the country is misreading. I'm about to ask her about what it's like to be in a relationship that was born from tragedy, but Maribel storms off with red eyes and Atlas chases after her. 2 more to go. Eva's dark hair flows out from behind her rainbow cap gifted to her by Iris to beat any urges to yank more strands from her head. She doesn't make eye contact with me or the camera as she introduces herself as the hidden spellwalker the world has never met because her healing powers has made her too valuable. Oh my god. 3 years ago, after losing her parents, who were working in a celestial shelter that was annihilated by a terrorist, Eva moved in with her lifelong best friend's family. Eva had exposed her power to heal a child who'd been hit by a car, only to be followed by men who tried to kidnap her and sell her off to some shady alchemists. Her friend's mother fought them off long enough for a Celestial to come to the rescue, but she was shot in the conflict and died before Eva could heal her. Her friend watched powerless, and soon after that, the friend sought out power to protect herself. She became a spectre. Even scarier, she's now the bloodcaster with Hydra blood. I had no idea Eva was once friends with Dion Henry. I'll admit I was curious how Eva's videos were going to track compared to the others in the series, but once the story gets circulating, I'm sure everyone is going to be holding their breaths to see what happens between the spellwalkers and bloodcasters who have so much history together. I know I am. Emil comes out from behind the camera and Prudencia takes over. How honest should I be? Emil asks. What do you mean? Maybe if I own up to my past lives, we won't lose the spotlight. Solid. Prudencia shakes her head. It's not solid, Emil. There might be a bigger bounty, product placement, on your head to make die Riegel. Heißen die nicht so?
Keine Ahnung, aber das ist nicht das erste, woran ich denke, wenn ich Bounty
on your head to make you pay for what Keon did. Violence against phoenixes will only increase. It's all too risky. So we go to what's safe for the video. Emil talking about how he was excited for college and how things were picking up at work. It's fine, but it's all surface level. Everyone would lose their minds to hear about how he was adopted, how he was found on the streets. It was a plot twist that shook us greater than our favorite stories. It doesn't matter, I guess. If Emil is in it, people are going to treat it like a gigantic deal. I pack up and immediately lock myself in the computer lab to work on edits. Ma makes sure I'm eating and Prudencia urges me to rest, and Emil keeps me company while flipping through Bautista's and Sarah's journal. I pass out at the table while polishing Atlas' video, and when Emil wakes me up to go to bed, I get back to work. I clock out around 5 in the morning, only when I've done all my edits. I review everything when I wake up and present it to the team. Everyone is good, so there's one last thing left to do. I hit upload. The Spellwalkers of New York have broken the internet. The hashtag human power tag is trending globally, and people are taking it on like it's the latest Instagram challenge. It's only been 14 hours and Emil's video is leading with over 2 million views. The others have all crossed 1 million too. My phone is absolutely blowing up with media requests and follower growth. I love the high of notifications, but I had to finally turn them off. Shooting past 100,000 YouTube subscribers was one big dream, and was the big dream. And now that I've crossed that line, I want more. I need more. I'm getting some heat from this conservative vlogger, which isn't that surprising. So the so-called Silver Star Slayer is always spreading conspiracy theories about Celestials. Anytime Senator Iron gets caught saying something that would work against his campaign, you can count on him to upload a video about how a shapeshifter probably posed as Senator Iron or some other Celestial used their technological powers to manipulate the footage, as if that's even a thing. The Silver Star Slayer has got his political neck of the woods believing the following. It's only a matter of time until Atlas follows in his parents' footsteps. Wesley's sob story about Ruth cloning herself to help out with their baby is a disservice to single mothers who are actually struggling. If Iris wanted to be a hero, she would disband the Spellwalkers. Maribel is calling for an invasion of privacy of a young girl's life because she won't accept that her parents are murderers. Eva is selfish for not healing patients in need of urgent care, and Emil is being groomed to assassinate Senator Iron and any other anti-Gleamcraft politicians. I'm sorry, I say to the group, people are buying into it. I never wanted to give anyone more ammo. But not everyone. Anyone willing to believe his lies isn't ever going to change their mind about us, Iris says. This is a promising sign. You've proven that they're paying attention to us with their hashtag. Now we just have to figure out how to leverage this platform to cause some real change. Prudencia walks over with bottles of cider and champagne. You did it, she says with a true smile. Everyone gets themselves a glass and they toast me. I may not be throwing fire, but I'm just as much a hero as anyone else.
Alter.
Oh.
Aber jetzt wird er power hungry.
I need more.
I need more. Okay, nächstes Ziel, 20 Millionen.
Ja, 20. Can we beat T-Series?
Can we beat Cocomelon?
Can we beat Silver Star Slayer? Ja.
Ach ja.
Kurz.
Und die Sache ist, wenn man manchmal von diesen Argumenten von diesem Silver Star Slayer, da muss man ja nicht mal lange drüber nachdenken und würde es drauf kommen, dass es, oh ja, I guess, man könnte das so sehen.
Ja, aber es ist auch so, ja, natürlich kann man das so sehen, aber das ist so die Ansicht, die zu jemand, das ist so das Dümmste, was man denken kann. Das ist so.
Also das mit den Single-Müttern.
Ja, oder dass Eva selfish ist dafür,
ja,
dass sie die Leute nicht heilt. Jo, sie leidet ja darunter.
Ja, aber das haben sie nicht erklärt oder so.
Ja, aber ne? Und es gibt ja Gründe. Und sie kann halt nicht einfach draußen rumlaufen, weil dann wird sie ja weggestealt oder so. Du hast so viele Argumente gegen das, was er sagt, aber naja. Ich glaube, der ist generell nicht so der hellste.
Was soll dann passieren? Alle Krankenhäuser schließen, weil alle gehen einfach nur zu dieser Person und die heilt 10.000 Leute am Tag, oder?
Und stirbt dann wahrscheinlich einfach.
Ja, instant.
Kapitel 20. No one. Ness. Alter,
Wer ist
Dion.
das? Wer war das?
Den hatten wir schon mal. Der ist
Böse?
bei den, ne?
Ja, das ist der sich
Bloodcaster.
verwandeln kann, also der sich
Genau.
der sich
Der Shapeshifter.
aussehen. Genau, Shapeshifter.
Der sich fühlt, als müsste er richtig hart pissen. Oder was das war.
Ach so, ja.
Dion Henry is limping when she finally returns to Light Sky Tower with dark shadows under her venom green eyes. Blood is caked in her curly red hair and splattered across her muscular tattooed arms. Ich dachte erst masculine. Ich dachte sowas. I can't help myself. I'm always drawn to the white scars around her body. The thick line across the two lips on her forearm, another splitting the pink rose on her shoulder, a deep one at the base of her neck, to name a few, and the new one below her knee is still healing, like flesh stitching itself together. While people continue to cut away at the girl with Hydra blood as if that will stop her is beyond me. A few months ago, I would have been thrilled to see her return in one piece, starting over with no ties to my life, as to my old life was lonely, and Stanton is too ruthless for true friendship. Dion's presence was more real, more human. I was sure we were in the same boat, indebted to the gang for saving our lives and heartbreakingly loyal because it was better than running from our pasts alone. Dion bad-mouthing the senator when we watched the news together was a sign that she's good people, and she was the only one who checked in on me the night I killed that alchemist who put a wand to my head. But she's been on a power trip lately, throwing herself into more and more danger in the name of Luna's grand design, which she thinks will make her safe forever. That it will make all of us safe forever. The mission is what matters, no friends. I've been wondering if she's watched the video of the spellwalker Eva Nafizi talking about how they were former best friends. Considering her current state, now doesn't seem like the time to ask. Where's the freak of nature? Dion asks me and Stanton. Always nice to hear that I'm not the only one still unnerved by June's existence. More blood tests with Luna, I say. Then we leave in 2 minutes without her, Dion says.
You don't control me.
I don't know.
Also so ein Monster.
I mean, ist er ja auch.
Ja, ich weiß nicht, was denn.
Der ist dieser Basilisk-Mensch, der so grüne Adern überall hat.
Okay.
You don't control me, Stanton says. There are several casters around the country, but we're the elite. We're in on the big plan. Stanton is the most senior of the New York gang by a year, but we only serve one leader, and that's the person who gave us power. Our roles are constantly shifting, but for the most part, we're set. I spy on Luna's enemies and impersonate at her orders. Dion negotiates with dealers, traffickers, and politicians, and when that fails, she uses pure force so she doesn't return without good news. Stanton hits the street to prey on potential casters who first have to be initiated as alkalites to prove themselves. A step I'm grateful I got to skip, since Stanton's methods in testing their loyalty and fierceness are brutal. And June is nothing more than an assassin far as I can tell. The killer who hasn't been seen by the world since the camera caught a glimpse of her in the wreckage of the blackout. Luna has paid many favors to the media to keep Jun's face out of their circulation. Dion ignores Stanton's bait and fills us in on the rare golden strand hydra that's being transported from Greece for some trafficker's client who outbid Luna. The trafficker wasn't going to reveal the whereabouts and timing of the drop-off, not even after Luna offered to bless him with the powers of an ivory phoenix. So Dion assassinated the entire crew single-handedly, and he changed his tune. It's important that the Hydra remains unharmed, which means preventing its delivery to the Apollo arena, where it will be forced to fight another creature in a vicious cage match. Everything is going down within the hour in Brooklyn, so Stanton rounds up some acolytes and we leave the tower. I pull tonight's disguise from the security guard who looked at Luna with disdain when we first arrived at the end of August. Wearing a dead man's face is good for my conscience. Conscience.
Yeah.
Not like he'll get arrested for any crimes I commit tonight. Siehst du so deinen Vater oder so, du denkst so, yo, dein Vater ist so tot oder so seit einem Monat. Plötzlich ist er so in so einem Nachrichtensender, ist richtig am alle zerstören. Und du bist so, ich hasse mein Leben. I'm hoping no serious action will be necessary, but as we all park and fan out across the marina, hiding in boats and behind bushes, I stay close to Stanton and Dion because that's the key to staying alive. Luna tells us to look after each other like family, and even though that word has been meaningless for years, we know we better live up to her expectations. So many acolytes would love to take our places. I tense up as the cargo ship pulls in to the pier. The door swings open, and while the Hydra's growl is chilling, nothing freaks me out more than a dozen armed mercenaries exiting. Oh my god, exciting. Exiting the boat with wands and daggers swinging from their belts. We don't have nearly as many acolytes as we need to survive this, to even attempt it. Let's call them off, I say. Wait for them at the arena. Security at Apollo is tight, Dion says. We'll die if we move now, I say. Well, we'll never truly live if we don't, Dion says. Dion lunges into action. She reaches mercenaries with her bursts of swift speed before their spells can be fired, and she snaps one's neck. The acolytes come out of hiding, distracting the mercenaries from long enough for Stanton to strike. Here we go. My wand is charged to the max. I need to make these 6 blasts of lightning count. I enter the fray right as one acolyte takes a spell straight through his heart, falling over into the river. The mercenary responsible takes aim at me, and I shoulder roll out of the way, almost going over the edge and into the water myself. Before I can fight back, Stanton pops up behind the bearded man, sinks his teeth into his neck and rips out a chunk of flesh. Richtiger Vampir. Blood gushes all over the dog, and the mercenary falls into it, writhing around. Stanton grins and waves before spinning in time to catch the wrist of someone who was trying to stab him. Objective: protect the Hydra from harm. Reaching the boat isn't simple. I only get 2 discharges out of my wand before a mercenary blasts it in half, burning my hand. An inch to the left would have been a headshot. I would have died as someone else. I pop onto the nearest boat and take cover in this ridiculous midlife crisis purchase. The little wobble of the boat is enough to trigger my seasickness. The couple times I rode the ferry with my mother were enough to keep me off water forever. I try to hold my dinner in, but when I look through the foggy window and onto the dock, I see a mercenary pin an acolyte under her boot and shoot a spell between his eyes. I throw up all over my boots. Dion and Stanton and the remaining 3 acolytes are being overpowered. Ness! Dion shouts. There's fury all over her face, as if I'm stronger than her, as if I'm the one who said we should go and try to fight this battle. New plan. Morph into one of the fallen mercenaries long enough to get past the survivors who are keeping my people at bay. Then we all run. I'm in the process of modeling myself after the one Stanton thought was acceptable to bite like some vicious storybook vampire when someone tackles me from behind. Alter Ness, wir denken einfach genau gleich. I hate shifters. The man growls. He flips me over. He swings his long red hair out of his face, revealing a thick scar that travels across his cheek. Who knows if the Hydra that did that became a trophy in his home, but at least the creature managed to slash away half of this man's nose. The mercenary chokes me, and I'm hoping Stanton and Dion are going to appear out of the shadows and save me, but nothing. I lose concentration on my morph, and my entire Glamour fades away.
Haben irgendwie voll viele Leute rote Haare.
Ist bestimmt voll magical.
Okay.
You. His face goes white. Aren't you? I rip the wand out of his holster and fire a spell through his heart. I'm no one, I say with my first breath. Alter, richtig epic. The light vanishes from his eyes and he collapses on me. His corpse is heavy, but I manage to roll him off. I tried to avoid this so badly, but if it's my life or someone else's, there's no competition. Footsteps are coming my way. If I could swim, I'd throw myself overboard. But I can play dead better than anyone I know. I morph into an acolyte with blood staining my shirt and stay very still, even though my heart is alive and racing. Let everyone think we took each other out. The bloodcasters failed tonight, but I can make this right. I have to make this right. May the stars have mercy on me if I can't. Huiuiui.
Alter, okay, hui. I don't know, es war irgendwie sehr verwirrend. Also, I guess, die haben halt verkackt. Wir haben ein bisschen über Ness kennengelernt.
Yes.
Voll die Memme.
Voll die Memme. Ich meine, er hat halt nicht wirklich Powers, die ihn im Battle helfen, deswegen.
Ja, kann er sich nicht vorstellen, dass er irgendwie eine Waffe ist?
Ich glaube nicht.
Dann so Projektile schießt oder so. Mit so einem Bogen.
Ich meine, so funktioniert das ja nicht.
Nicht?
Kapitel 21. Hope. Marable. It's a couple days after Brighton's campaign before something worthy pierces the news cycle. But this late-night report of an attack on the Brooklyn marina catches my eye. There are images of dead acolytes being bagged up, and that's all I need to resist Atlas pulling me back into bed. This is a solid lead, and because Atlas is a gentleman, he gets up and we rush out to his car with our gear. The couple that hunts together stays together, I say as we take off. Atlas yawns. I vote for becoming the couple that stays in together and gets a full night's rest. I had that once. It didn't work for me. The only person I dated before Atlas was Aquila. Das klingt wie ein Tier. So ein Haustier.
Maybe, who knows? Vielleicht war es ja
Alter.
ein Tier, ne?
Wie sind die nicht alle Tiere? Die Spectre
Ja.
zumindest.
Ja, das ist nicht.
Rar.
Ja, ich fand die auch. Rar.
A powerful celestial who was rescued by Iris's parents. I was 14 when I bumped into her outside the Haven's bathroom, obviously to who she was and why I was so obvious to who she was and why I was so attracted to her. I was able to talk through my feelings with Iris, who always understood her heart. Akila and I bonded over music and strong mothers, but unlike me, she wasn't committed to the fight and wanted to stay indoors instead, going off on her because her power was more active and better primed for the fight than mine wasn't my finest hour. But praying to the stars that everything will sort itself out isn't me. I get out of bed and make a difference. Iris is going to be pissed we didn't wake her up, Atlas says. If she was really on her game, she wouldn't need us to. Murray, she can't be awake 24/7. Why not? She's the all-powerful Celestial who's going to save the world from itself, isn't she? I can't believe I didn't see all her arrogance when we were growing up. Sounds more like Emil, Atlas says. What people are expecting, at least. I don't want to say it to Emil's face, but the wrong brother got powers. Emil's sensitivity and resistance to fighting is much more suited to doing all the behind-the-scenes activity. Brighton's take charge attitude paired with those powers would have been truly revolutionary for us. I believe in Emil. He's doing his best. I hope his best gets better. We park minutes away and...
So annoying.
Ja, ey, honestly, ich hasse.
Kann ja nicht wahr sein.
Like,
Vielleicht
honestly,
ist es gut so. Vielleicht ist es gut, dass es keiner hat, der die ganze Zeit nur irgendwie kämpfen
vielleicht
will.
sollte nicht
Kräfte
jemand, der
will.
größenwahnsinnig ist, super powerful
Ja.
sein.
Ja.
We park minutes away and almost bump into a couple holding hands as they exit a bodega carrying groceries. I'm envious. No one is expecting them to save the world. They are not trying to avenge the deaths of their parents. They get to hold hands and breathe in peace. I'm tempted to reach for Atlas, but we have to keep our hooded heads low under the moonlight and not draw attention to ourselves as we continue our late-night mission. There's yellow tape stretched across the dock. All the body bags and police are gone. I step in puddles of blood that haven't dried yet, and I'm adding more crimson footprints to the grimy wooden panels. I investigate the insides of a metal cargo crate, using my phone's flashlight to expose the claw marks and scattered fur. Hydra, I call out, and my voice echoes within. Hydra, Hydra, Hydra. I step out. Luna must be creating another spectre. Atlas is standing still and staring at the blood. What's wrong? So many deaths. What's wrong? So many deaths. Mary, if I die during battle, we're not having this talk. I want to be cremated. I don't want some open casket funeral where my body is stitched back together from whatever takes me out and people remember me wrong. I want my ashes scattered somewhere, maybe even tons of places. We are too young to be thinking about this, but my parents died without me ever knowing what they wanted. Not that they had bodies to bury, ashes to spread. Noted, I say. Same for me, I guess. Maybe we'll die together sooner or later and our ashes can be thrown into the same winds. Someone's watching us. I can feel it thrumming through me like the sixth sense that aids me in battle. I look up and there's a girl in Acolyte gear standing at the dock. When she sees me, she runs. Mary, wait! I get a running head start and jump into the air, gliding straight into her. I flip her over and see she's small with long blonde hair. Her big eyes are frightened as I pin her down, my forearm against her throat. When I let you breathe, you need to tell me where Luna is. Understand? The girl sucks in a deep breath. I don't know where she is. Luna's always moving around, and I go where I'm told. I snuck out of housing to see if my sister died in the attack. Your sister? Atlas asks. I followed her in her footsteps and devoted my life to Luna so we could one day be given powers, but she didn't return tonight and... Ease up, Marie, Atlas says. She's a kid who doesn't know better. I get off her and cross my arms. What's your name? Hope. Okay, Hope. Okay, Hope. If that's really your name. Okay, Hope. I'm Atlas. Do you know anything about the mission? Why Luna wanted the Hydra? Not really, but she's working on all double time to intercept that Hydra from the traffickers. Since we failed here, all the of the bloodcasters will have to bust into the Apollo Arena cage match tomorrow night to retrieve the Hydra before it gets harmed. Does that include the celestial girl who's untouchable? I ask. She tenses. Yes? Who is she? The acolyte looks around like someone might snipe her if she says another word. I don't know much, except that she's an assassin named June, who was contracted to kill the spellwalkers. The ones before you. The blackout. I grab and shake her. How did she pull it off? Was she working alone? I don't know, but Luna is very proud of her. Anything else? I ask. Hope shakes her head. Please take me in. I can't go back, she begs. Luna doesn't even know who you are, I say. We appreciate your help, Atlas says, playing a good Celestia. But we're caught in the crossfire of this war, and if you truly want to escape the Bloodcasters, your best bet is leaving town. Do you have any other family? Hope looks like she might cry. I'm not dealing with her. I walk to the edge of the dock and try to breathe. I shut my eyes and June's face comes into the darkness. She killed my parents. I snuff out her light. Okay.
Okay. Ist das viel bis so das nächste?
Also ich meine nicht super viel.
Aber so ein 10-Minuten-Ding auch nicht, oder?
Mist. 10 Minuten wird knapp, glaube ich.
Ja.
Vielleicht eher so 15 bis 20. Kommt drauf an.
Na, wollen wir das dann noch machen?
Baller
nicht?
durch, let's go.
Okay. Kapitel 22. Cage Match. Emil, Alter, ich frage mich, was für ein Cage Match die reden. Tell your mother how that makes you feel, Eva says during our morning therapy session. Talking about the big family secret is difficult, but I don't want to keep shutting her out. I can't trust you, I say to Ma with my eyes on the floor. I mean, I trust you, but I feel stupid for doing so now. I know you love me and that you wanted the best for me. I get that. I always felt safe around you and Dad. Ma nods. Do you think you would have been okay with us telling you as a child? The thought has crossed my head a lot. I probably wouldn't have known better. The same way I didn't treat my sexuality like a big deal, but I can see myself spiraling growing up too and questioning every little thing. Did Brighton get a bigger cookie? Why did Brighton get kissed first before bedtime? Would Ma and Dad have expected better grades if I shared their DNA? I don't know, I say. Eva is about to ask another question when the door opens and Maribel enters. We're having a session. Why doesn't anyone respect therapy? I figured out who killed my parents, Maribel says. She looks like she hasn't slept all night. Emil, I know you're wanting to sit some fights out, but the Bloodcasters are going to be out in full force tonight and we need you. Bonus perk, if you play your cards right, you'll be able to save a Phoenix's life before it's ripped apart by a Hydra. So much for the session. I'm pulled into a meeting with the rest of the group, where Maribel and Atlas give us a full rundown of their trip to the dock. Iris is hesitant to trust the acolyte who passed along this information, but Atlas really vouched for the fear in the girl's eyes. We are thrown straight into training, and my stomach is absolutely uneasy once we take off for Apollo Arena. Cage matches between creatures are barbaric, and we've got the entire crew walking straight into one. I'm not trying to watch some Phoenix and Hydra battle it out. I don't have the heart for that, but I can't sit this out. I'm going to make good use of these powers I'm not supposed to have. The Grey Sun won't have died in vain. We park our cars in front of this rundown boxing arena. People are being carted at the door and checked off a list. Maribel is ready to bust in the front door to get her hands on the bloodcaster who played a role in her parents' death, but Atlas convinces her to practice some discretion for the greater mission. Haha, geht her hand on, aber kann sie ja nicht, weil sie ist nicht touchable. Oder so. Lol. Two armed guards at the back entrance, he says. Go disarm them, Maribel says. I give the orders, Iris says. Wesley awaits instruction. Go disarm them. We make our way to the back, fanning out so we don't draw as much attention. I keep close to Brighton and Prudencia, wishing they'd remain at Nova. I stay away from Maribel, whose fierceness is dark tonight. There's a dagger hidden in her boot and gem grenades in her shoulder pouches. Shoulder pouches? Damn. Wow. Hat die ultrabreite Schulter? Oder ist es nach vorne? Oder
Oh.
obendrauf? Überhaupt nicht unpraktisch. And I don't want to be around when she makes her move on June. We regroup behind the arena, where Wesley is lounging across the hood of a truck away from a group of unconscious guards. Maribel charges inside with Brighton closely following, his camera light exposing stains of blood and deep scratches along the floors and walls. It reeks of sweat and beer and wet fur. A thunderous roar echoes. I bet Spellrock could explode back here and no one would notice. We split up. Brighton and Prudencia head to the balcony so they can film discreetly. I remain on the lower level, which can't be farther from my people, but Atlas assures me he'll stay up in the shadows above to keep an eye on them. Iris and Wesley blend into the crowd where Maribel patrols. It's a safe bet that tons of people here tonight have decorated their homes with creature heads, maybe even hunted them personally as trophies to brag about. None of them give a damn that these creatures were ripped away from their families, carted over in darkness so they can be unleashed against their natural enemies for entertainment. Screw them all. The ring is shaped like a diamond with puddles of blood in the sand. There are shells of serpent skin stretched across the ring, and man, I hope there isn't a basilisk slithering around tonight. An announcer in an oversized hoodie signals that the match is about to start. 4 people appear from the low entrance, all wearing armor and helmets, and they're each carrying a chain and dragging the Hydra. The Golden Strand Hydra is a ferocious beauty with flesh that's beige like the tropical beaches of its home. Its eyes are yellow and orange with cracks of red like the sun. The Hydra struggles, dragging its clawed feet, scratching the path to the cage. A low phoenix screech that sounds like a piercing firework taking flight pulls everyone's attention back to the entrance. The sun swallower's ankles are chained, and its bright orange feathers are shedding as it flaps its wings widely. Its red beak is sealed shut with iron, preventing it from breathing fire before its time. I want to lay into the two people as they pull the phoenix into its cage and unlock the muzzle and chains with the press of a button. The Hydra and Phoenix are left alone in the cage and freeze as they lock eyes. The Hydra roars and the Phoenix screeches, and I don't need to speak their languages to know they are both frightened and prepared to fight for their lives. The Hydra lunges and the Phoenix circles above, breathing fire. The crow cheers as the Hydra gallops around the cage, skidding across the sand and banging into the cell. The Hydra bounces off the wall and smacks the Phoenix out of the air with a tail that's as thick as a garden tree. Right before the Hydra can stomp out its opponent, fire blasts into its underbelly, The phoenix missed the heart by inches. I'm shaking as the hydra holds in agony, rolling around in the sand even after the fire is put out. Ime, Ime! Iris points at someone in the front row. Stanton. I want to back out. This is the first time I've seen him since the day everything changed. Stanton jumps over the barricade. 3 security guards come for him, and Stanton bangs 2 of their heads together, kicking the third into the cage. If Stanton is here, the other bloodcasters might be too. There's no sign of June. I don't know if the shapeshifter is here. He could be the woman sitting next to me or the furious man behind me. Anyone. Atlas comes down from the sky and binds Stanton to the outside of the cell with his wings. The cage rattles and the hydra screeches, banging from within. June appears and phases through the cage. She unlocks the door from within, and a muscular girl with curly red hair and bright sleeves of flowery tattoos follows her in. Dione, Dion,
Dion. I guess. I don't know.
Dion, I don't know, the bloodcaster with hydra blood and Eva's former best friend. I hop over the barricade and into the cage. I hurl fire darts at Dion, but she ducks and weaves with bursts of swift speed, and no matter how prepared I thought I was after hitting Wesley during training, I barely have enough time to brace myself before Dion uppercuts me. The Hydra is running wild as my fire blooms around the cage, and right as it's about to tackle Dion, June grips her and they become untouchable. Übertragbar, damn.
Yes.
The Hydra scratches at Dion and June like an animal to its reflection and then gives up. The cage door rattles as Iris fights Stanton. She bangs him into the bars over and over, and then she swings at him, which he narrowly dodges. If he hadn't moved, there would have been a hole in his face, no doubt. Iris' punch snaps the bars out of place, and the roaring Hydra leaps at the broken barrier and squeezes itself out. Pandemonium strikes. Was? Okay. Everyone who's been cheering on the creature's deaths is now running for their lives. The Hydra barrels through people in the stand with no sense of direction. I don't want to save any of them, but I can't let the Hydra hurt anyone. This is how I help prove the spellwalkers are innocent. I chase the Hydra, not sure how to stop it without hurting it, when a jet of light shocks the Hydra. A white boy with brown hair is at the top of the steps with a wand. I don't recognize him, but he clearly knows who I am when he fires off 3 more shots my way before the wand loses charge. I catch up to him, and the boy kicks me into a chair before dashing the other way. The Hydra is breathing, so I pop up and hurl fire dart after fire dart at the boy, doing my best not to knock out innocent people. I strike him in the shoulder, and he tumbles down the steps, taking others down with him. There's a muted gray light within the pile of bodies. It's the shapeshifter. I rush down, but I can't figure out who he became. I grab an older man's wrist, and he's straight terrified. But this might be some act. I spot a woman running off, and she's massaging her shoulder. That's him. I bullet for him, but stop in my tracks when someone screams. Dion is pinned underneath Maribel's foot, and her hand is no longer attached to her wrist. Oh. Blood pools out from her stub. Maribel holds an explosive gem grenade over Dion. Make yourself solid, Maribel says to June, or she won't have a body to regrow. Don't kill her, I say. They're all going to have to die one day, Maribel says. The fierceness in her eyes is burning as June approaches. The soft glow around June fades away, and Maribel lunges. June swings a killer kick into Maribel and snatches the gem grenade. Before June can drop it, I blast her with fire darts and she flies into the cage. The gem grenade rolls out of her hand. Grab her, Maribel shouts. I'm quick and I grab June's arms, holding them behind her back. This doesn't feel right. Dion is bleeding out and I've got June bound, but winning shouldn't feel this sickening. It's hard to believe we are going to come off as the good guys in Brighton's video. Maribel picks up her dagger and saunters toward June. Start talking about the black hole. June isn't reacting, not even fighting to break free. Nothing? Fine. I look away as Maribel unleashes punch after punch. You killed my parents! Maribel swings back her dagger and I let go of June. June fades and Maribel catches herself just before she drives the blade through my heart. What the hell did you do? I can't kill, I'm sorry. You just had to hold on to her. I'm sorry, She's a bloodcaster, Amy. She's not innocent. If June kills anyone from here on out, that's on your conscience. Maribel throws the dagger, crouches and runs her hand through her hair. I'm shaking and catching my breath, and my face is warm like I'm sitting in front of a fireplace. Iris drags Dion out of the cage, but not with her usual ease. The fight against Stanton must have worn her out. I'm guessing we'll bring Dion back to Nova for some questioning. Then Iris rubs her shoulder. Son of a... Up in the seats, acolytes are wheeling away the chained Hydra. I'm going to get the shapeshifter before he can keep tricking us. The real Iris and Atlas are recovering. I hurl fire darts at the shapeshifter and accidentally light up some seeds. In no time the fire is spreading. I brave through the grey and gold flames. Iris is running behind me and Atlas flies above. I shout for Atlas to get Brighton and Brilliancy out of here. I can't believe I'm out here giving instructions, but time is wasting. The higher I get up the steps, the more my ribcage aches. I throw a fire dart and catch the shapeshifter in the leg. He falls down, taking Dion with him, but Stanton catches her. I grab the shapeshifter as June fades in. Leave him, Stanton says. The shapeshifter looks up at me with Iris's eyes, and he's too weak to fight. The real Iris hoists him over her shoulder. Looks like we got a win of our own, Iris says. The arena is fully catching fire now. The smoke is suffocating, but we all manage to break free with my light guiding the way. Out in the parking lot, I turn around and the destruction is blinding. A mountain of grey and orange fire, the flames licking away at the dark sky. The sun swallower emerges and flies into the night. Its freedom reminds me of how happy I am to watch this building turn into ashes. Iris drops the shapeshifter to the ground and kneels beside him. That's why Luna needed that Hydra. And where I can find June, Maribel adds. A laugh sneaks past the shapeshifter's groaning. You're insane if you think I would sell out Luna. He props himself against the car door. You can kick me around all you want, but that's nothing compared to what Luna will do. I'm happy to step outside my comfort zone, Maribel says. Pick your poison. She was ready to kill one bloodcaster. The odds aren't looking great for him. You're bluffing. You're underestimating how much I want to punch that face you're wearing. Maribel clocks the shapeshifter in the jaw and he falls over. She turns to Iris. Iris rolls her eyes. Was that necessary? Better him than you, Maribel says. The dull grey light spreads across the shapeshifter and washes away Iris's features. His spellwalker gear fades and he's left in nothing but sweatpants, sneakers, and a tank top that reveals the kind of toned arms the world has always told me I should have too. He's about my age with light brown skin, dark eyebrows, and even darker hair that's curly on top and shaved down on the side. I know his face. The entire country knows his face. It's Senator Iron's son, Eduardo. The one who died in the blackout. What? Was ein Plot?
Was für ein Reveal am Ende. Ui. Uiuiui. Fun Fact.
Also das war jetzt sehr interessant. Diesen Plot habe ich jetzt nicht erwartet. Ich meine, I guess, ich war schon, wer könnte das sein? Weil der eine Typ ja gesagt hat, ich kenne dich doch, Leute.
Yes. Aber uiuiui. Ich meine, wir haben ja irgendwann am Anfang schon mal gehört, dass der wohl, ne? Im Blackout gestorben ist oder so. Aber scheinbar ja doch nicht.
Was hast du da für ein Bild?
Pandemonium
Das
ist das.
Okay, und was ist das?
Das ist die Hauptstadt der Hölle im Epos Paradise Lost des englischen Dichters John Milton. Also
Epic. Also
Hölle hat
so gesehen
gestartet.
die Hölle bricht aus.
Ja.
Okay. Krass, Leute. Das kann ich nicht.
Ja, ich auch nicht.
Müsste ich mir wohl mal merken. Pandemonium, ne?
Ja, im Deutschen mit glaube ich.
Pandemonium.
Pandämonium.
Pandemonium. Achso,
Pande.
wie Dämon.
Ja.
Pandemonium.
Pansexuelle Dämonen.
Okay. Ja.
Pfannendämonen? Man weiß es nicht.
Okay. Dann hoffe ich, es war sehr interessant. Ich fand es sehr interessant diesmal.
Ich auch.
War
Viele
einer der
Reveals.
interessanteren Teile.
Die wissen jetzt, wer June ist. Die haben jetzt jemanden
Ja.
gefangen, den wir schon kennen, aber jetzt nicht, also nicht wirklich kannten, nur halb kannten, genau. Krasse Sache.
Ja, es ist der Raum. Mal gucken, was mit dem Blackout da alles noch mehr sich
Wir wissen jetzt, dass
developt.
Junes Macht übertragbar ist. Basically. Wenn sie,
Interessant, like,
Ja.
ja. Die muss ja nur bei Luna sein und dann, like, Protection,
ja,
I guess. Das muss eine coole Fähigkeit sein, ne? Einfach so,
Mhm.
oh, nix kann mich touch, also, I don't know. Like, okay, ich mag so eine Fähigkeit nicht, weil ich mir denke, warum fallen die nicht durch den Boden? Lol.
ja,
Like, ne?
hier ist es.
Die kann durch alles durchgehen und so, aber nicht durch den Boden, den irgendjemand mal gemacht hat.
Aber Neck
Ich
kann
I guess man kann das entscheiden oder
ja.
so. Gut, dann hören wir uns wieder beim nächsten Mal.
Alle gegenseitig, dies, das.
Alle gegenseitig, wenn es wieder heißt Super Segoku Buchclub.
Woo.
Und dann Tüdelü und auf
Auf
Wiedersehen.
Wiedersehen.